Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen wa salatu wa salamu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een. My dear brothers and sisters, inshaAllah today I'll be reflecting on a couple of ayat, a couple of verses from the 11th juz, inshaAllah. Now the first ayat I want to reflect upon is ayah number 119 of Surah At-Tawbah, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He mentions addressing all the believers, addressing you and I, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا اتَّقُوا اللَّهَ وَكُونُوا مَعَ الصَّادِقِينَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says that all you who believe, fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, be conscious and mindful of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and be with those that are the truthful ones. Now this ayah has been interpreted in two different ways. The first way in which this ayah has been interpreted is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that all you who believe, be mindful of Allah in this world, and insha'Allah, if this is the case and we pass and we succeed, then we will be with those that are the truthful ones in the hereafter, insha'Allah. May Allah make it such for all of us. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. The second interpretation is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that all you who believe, be mindful of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, be conscious of Allah, be aware of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and be with those, be in the company of those that are the truthful ones in this world. And of course, if this is the case, then inshaAllah, we will also be with those that we are close to. Just like the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he mentioned, Al-mar'u ma'a man ahab, that an individual will be with that person that he or she loves in the hereafter. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us from amongst those people that are with the righteous, with the prophets, the companions, and the Anbiya alayhimu salatu wasalam in the highest ranks of Jannah. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. Now the topic of truthfulness and being in the right company, many things can be said, but on the idea and the concept of truthfulness, I'd like to mention a hadith, very beautiful hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in which he says that hold fast, hold tight to truthfulness, because that same truthfulness leads an individual towards righteousness, and that righteousness leads an individual towards Jannah. And then the Prophet ﷺ further goes on to mention that an individual continues to say truthful things, to be truthful, and he seeks to be a truthful individual until Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala officially registers that individual as a Siddiq in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us from amongst those that are the truthful ones, the Siddiqeen. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. And then the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, on the other hand, he mentions, and he says, beware and stay away and avoid lying, for lying and al-kadhib leads an individual towards transgression, and transgression inevitably leads an individual towards the hellfire. And then the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam goes on to say that an individual will lie and continue to lie and will seek to lie until and eventually that individual will be registered officially in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as a liar. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us all. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us from amongst those that are the righteous, that are the truthful ones. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enable us to have the right company. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this ayah, in many times in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He mentions that ittaqullah, and there is also a second injunction. Just like we see in the ayah of Surah Al-Hashr, that when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu taqullah, wal tanzur nafsum ma qaddamat lighad. In another place in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu taqullah, wa qulu qawlan sadida. So the scholars have mentioned that whenever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions taqwa, being conscious of Allah, Allah also mentions a means of attaining that as well. Many places in the Quran. So let's take this opportunity of understanding this ayah and being able and let's connect with this ayah in a meaningful way, inshallah, where we inshallah try to be in good company, and when we are in good company, inshallah, that will rub off onto us. We will be influenced, inshallah, and we, inshallah, that truthfulness, that piety, that consciousness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be instilled within us, inshallah. But this requires an individual to be proactive. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us from amongst those that are proactive and that seek out to be those that are close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept all of our good deeds in this blessed month of Ramadan, from our fasting, our standing in prayer, and charity, and anything that we did for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enable us to experience many more Ramadans to come. Jazakumullahu khairan for watching. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.